Yeah, yeah, Diana. Jarbo Polsgrove. Yeah, yeah, I know her. In fact, let me tell you the story. So, I was on the board of the St. Matthew's Chamber, and the first time I met Diana, she scared the shit out of me.
She doesn't give a flying hoot what she says to whoever.
You never know what's going to come out of her mouth.
It was the St. Matthew's Street Fair, and man, she was shouting orders and back and forth and just she scared the hell out of me.
I'm not afraid of too many things. I tend to rush in and, react and just take the wildest chances.
So all I knew is I was going to do what she told me to do.
I would say probably the craziest moments I've had with Diana are Middletown Festival. And then watching her run rampant down the streets as the parade's going through.
Eventually, I stopped being afraid of her. And I started really paying attention to the stuff she was doing. And then we realized we must be cousins, Jarbos, together. And so, then we talked about business.
We learn more from our failures and our mistakes than we ever will our successes.
We talked about family.
Nothing ever will compare to having children. There is no success, there is no title, there is nothing as good as having children. But there's also nothing as hard as having children.
We talked about all the things that are important in life.
Life on all fronts is fun if you will allow it to be.
And she always had a laugh.
A lot of my exuberance has a lot of sadness and a lot of hardship.
She always offered to help me and help other businesses.
She just has helped so many people, and I'm sure she will continue to do that. She is unfailingly positive no matter what's going on.
Even though there might be 50 challenges in the way, she just kind of sidesteps all of them and gets right to where she wants to be.
If you don't like something, change it. Nobody can really make you do anything. Because if you really don't want to do something, you find a way not to.
No matter what adversity, you're not going to hear her complain.
I'm not going to put poor me out there. And poor me, I don't have money, but I've got so much.
She's a wonderful person. We all know that, right?
It was my husband's birthday, and she got him tickets to see Three Dog Night at the Iroquois Amphitheater. And it was so much fun, and we went with her. And I don't know, it was just so generous of her.
She's been such a wonderful cousin to me and inspiration and laughter. Oh my gosh, the laughing that we did. So anyway, I'll just keep talking. So anyway, it was really great. She was just a good friend. She's been a wonderful colleague, and I just love her so much. And So anyway, what was I saying? Yes, I just love her so much. And anybody that ever gets an opportunity to work with Diana, to talk with Diana, to just hear the stories she tells, well, you're going to be better for the experience.
She's just been a big part of my life, and just always knowing that she's there no matter what. All I need to do is call her and she's there.
But do me a favor, don't show her this video. I mean, I'm in the bathroom after all.
She taught me some new advertising things, like putting her business card on the urinal in the men's room, just in case there was anybody that would be interested. So little did I know that day, more so than business, I would find a friend and more like a mom away from home.
You can't have enough people in your life.
I met Diana Polsgrove when I first started networking.
Diana and I go back to the NABO days. That's how we met.
Diana and I met at a networking event.
I went to a networking event downtown.
I was lucky enough to meet Diana whenever I first came to Kentucky. Scared little boy, I guess you could say.
I was an awkward networker.
Didn't know anything about networking. Didn't matter. I was just told to go network, go meet new people.
We were at different tables.
My first ever big chamber event.
So clinkings happening, chitter chatters happening at these different tables.
And there was this beautiful woman that proceeded to grab me all over, give me a nice hug from the bottom up.
And there's this overarching laugh, and the table is laughing. There's obviously a class clown somewhere in the room.
And I remember the very first time we met, not only did I get a hug, but she immediately told me
About our lifelong mission of, being accused of sexual harassment.
Yeah, I like men. Yeah, I like men.
I personally love that she has goals, even in late in life, and they're not the kind of goals you would normally think.
She's always trying to get a sexual harassment charge.
her life goal to be basically accused of sexual harassment before she was 80.
There's no one that sexually harasses me better than Diana.
She knows how to get what she wants.
We clicked right away because we're our own individual selves and we like to do our own thing.
And bold enough to go after all the things.
I'll tell you right now, I welcome that kind of sexual harassment. It is quite pleasant.
She's always got a way about her of making things happen, but also making you laugh along the way, even when times are stressful.
Diana, like a lot of entrepreneurs, had ups and downs in the business.
Sometimes it just feels like it's all failures and mistakes. It's hard out there. It's hard.
She's somebody that's so generous that she has so much to share with everybody.
Stop, breathe, relax, rejoice, enjoy yourself, commune with whatever's around or whoever's around, but just breathe and replenish your soul.
And all of those experiences have made Diana this, this shining light. Her generosity about her business, her generosity about her kids, and her life story.
She's got big stories.
I was full grown before I realized I was poor.
When we were young, financially, we never knew what was going on. We never
knew we were poor.
Yeah, we didn't.
I've always said if mom and dad had money, I'd be more obnoxious, than I am now. I was an only child. My father dug ditches for a living from the water company. We lived in a shotgun house on Winkler Avenue, 3 blocks north of Churchill Downs. And the trigger part, the kitchen and dining room, were slave quarters that they added on to. And didn't have nice furniture, and it was not really a big, pretty house. But this is where the kids gravitated to.
I mean, we lived in the Cleaver household. I mean, mom was home. Cookies were baked when we got home from school. We sat and did our homework at the table. We had family dinners. We played cards after. So it was a loving childhood. But she taught us that quitting was an option. When it gets hard, that's life, and you stick with it.
You follow it through. You don't have to do it a second time.
Yeah.
But you followed it through to the end.
Yes, not an option.
Yep.
And you don't do it half-ass.
Yeah. You don't have to be the best at it, but you don't do it half-ass.
Yes.
I was very direct about a lot of things with my kids, and I would bring sex up before they would because I want them to think it was natural and so on and so forth. And when my oldest child, Virginia, my kids, Virginia and Dan are so different, but I'd look at Virginia when she was a teenager and go, do you know me and your father still have sex? She would die of embarrassment. She'd go away, I wouldn't hear from her, for 2 or 3 hours. Then there was Deanna, who was harder than her sister in a lot of different ways. And talking back and mouthing was never allowed in our household. But, I would listen. And back in the day, when I could, I was sitting on the floor and cutting out a pattern, getting ready to make something. And Deanna is going a mile a minute. Blim, 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 blim. And my golden rule with my children was, you never tell a child to shut up. You don't tell anybody to shut up. That's rude. Hush, be quiet. I've had enough. I'm not listening anymore, but not shut up. And she's just going, and I'm going, stop. She's going, what? I'm going, back up. She said, what? I said, back up. And she backed up 2 foot. She said, what? I said, over a little bit. I said, just do it. I said, okay, that's pretty good. She said, what is it? I just wanted to see you stand in the spot you were conceived in. Didn't see her for 3 days.
I was a interesting teenager. I was the baby, and so I was led astray by my older sibling. So teenage years was rough. I spent a lot of time in the office at school. In fact, my senior superlative was most familiar with the principal's office. My mother would walk in the door, and everybody's doors would shut. Like, oh hell, here she is. But as much as I was in trouble, it also came with, you don't fuck with my daughter. So, and she made it clear on that. Many a times my mother showed up at school in a robe and curlers, like she threatened to, and she did. Anything she tells you she's gonna do, you can, by damn, she's gonna do it.
Good, bad, or ugly.
Yeah.
My husband Bobby always said grandchildren was God's reward for you not killing your own children. And it's not better. Having grandkids is not better than having children. Nothing beats having your own children, but it's kind of like the icing on the cake without quite so much responsibility. My girls, I am so proud of them. They're good people. They've worked hard to get where they're at. They're honest. But I've always said, and I love them more than life itself. But if they weren't my children, I would want to be their friend because they're fun.
They stopped after me. You were practicing.
They stopped after you because they were scared what the third one was going to be.
Probably.
We decided on 2 kids, and truthfully, I probably could have been talked into 2 more kids. And with everything we went through, 2 was ideal. Told my girls, I said, don't expect me to wink out early. I'm living for spite, and I'm going to live with Deanna because she deserves it. Well, I live with Deanna, but I'm still working on the spite thing.
It's hard to explain Diana just in one small sound bite.
Envision a lady who would say anything funny, shocking,
Loyal as all get out.
fiercely loyal to her friends and her family and everyone who comes into her path.
She loves and loves on everybody.
And brings everybody into the fold as family.
She takes everybody in, and you're very welcomed in Diana's space.
To somebody that doesn't know her, she's going to be your number one advocate the moment she gets to know you. And it could be 5 minutes or an hour, but if she connects with you, she's going to be your top person.
Diana has been someone I've always looked up to and always respected.
I just think of somebody who's being super supportive. She always would, be right there in the front row and was always championing everything that I was trying to do.
Diana's a pistol.
She's so big personality. She brings big energy to the room.
She makes me feel good.
Diana is a warm, loving connector. She's definitely a connector.
She knows how to pick good people.
She was one of my first clients in another business that I had, and she was my first client in my own business as an individual business, and now I'm part of the family.
Mom adopted half of our friends. I mean, she's everybody's mom.
She is everybody's
I
mom.
have probably more siblings than I ever thought I would have because I met Diana.
She's my mom too. She adopted me.
My sister and I were having a conversation of people that we want to get together with and go out to lunch with, and Diana's name came up, and my sister and I decided that day when we took Diana to Simply Thai, we were going to ask her to be our mom here on earth.
So you had a problem, you go to her. I mean, there's still friends of ours now that would bypass us and call her and say, I have a question or I need to talk. And she tries to fix everybody, and
Gee, wonder where you get that from.
you're still more like her. But she just loving. I mean, never met a stranger, always helps. Even in her darkest days, she would still, if it was the last dollar in her pocket, what can I do to help somebody else out?
I'd love to hit the lottery just for the thrill of giving it away and making people smile and sharing. I mean, that's the best there is in life.
Mom was Dad's biggest cheerleader. And honestly, probably my relationship with my husband is a lot like Mom and Dad's, always joking and goofing. Am I wrong?
No, but there's certain things that I'm just like,
Goofing off and having fun. Because marriage is hard and everything's not always hunky-dory.
If we were happy all the time, we'd take it for granted.
But you can't take yourself too seriously. And they liked goofing around and aggravating the living shit out of each other.
Yeah, I told Bobby, there's things I told Bobby I never should have because he would but I told him at one point in time that my car was my prayer closet, and I'd pray every morning, and he made the comment, the way I drove, I should. And yes, antagonists make the best lovers.
What was Mom and Dad's names for each other on the Christmas presents?
Oh.
Was it dumbass and shithead? No, it's dumbass and something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bobby was really bad. We were so alike and so different. We went all the way through school together, 12 years. Never had a class together. And I always told him, because I took the advanced classes, he took the dumb classes. But that inspired a lot of stuff. But I told him when he was 16, he was going to marry me. He said he'd die and go to hell first. You don't tell an only child something like that. We'll just have to get it for you.
But when I think about Diana, I think about her fierce love for everybody, but I also think about her fierce love for her husband, Bobby. And I remember one specific time when I was at the Fair and Expo Center at the fair time, and I saw Diana cruising through with Bobby in his wheelchair. And when I say cruising through, I mean, I think she had him back on like 2 wheels, pushing him like super fast through the lobby. And when I waved her down, she whips him around and comes over and hugs, and Bobby is left in a trail of dust real quick, like what's happening. And I think that that's probably like life with Diana. That you don't quite know what's happening when you're in it, but you're glad it happened.
If there was a will or a way and Dad wanted to do something, she figured out how to do it. We took Dad parasailing. He was half paralyzed, but we pushed his ass up on a boat because Dad wanted to go parasail. Mom's like, okay, we're gonna figure out how to do this. So again, it was a support more than anything, and it was following your dreams.
Mm-hmm. After he had a stroke and he was in the nursing home, and he would kind of come and go, different times. And we were sitting there talking one night, and I said something. I said, I've decided right before we die, I want to become Mormon. And he sits there and looks at me. He says, what are you talking about? We're both deacons in the church. I said, yeah, but if you're Mormon, they believe that you're married through eternity. And he sat there and he looked at me for a minute and he said, I really wasn't going to hell. And I said, you really do have brain damage. You're a slow learner.
And down to the very last minute, they were comical. So Dad always says, cremate me and flush me down the toilet, you old shit. So after Dad was cremated, we had a ceremony, and she sprinkled him in the toilet and said, goodbye one last time, you old shit. And down he went. And that was their relationship. And aggravated the piss out of each other. They always teased. Dad got her cemetery plots for their first anniversary. Mom got him a vasectomy for Valentine's Day one year. So they were a unique couple. Mom takes Dad with her, when she has bad times. She does, not everybody knows it, but, the urns in her purse sometimes. And she always says, when to take him places. So there's a few places she wants to go, and God, to hear her say that and give him one last, blowjob and go, here we go, to the beach, to a cruise, wherever. And that's our mother. The flip side, Mom's an elder at church too, so.
Yeah. If you need to pray about it before you talk about blowjobs, Mom could do that too.
They loved each other. They were best friends. I mean, they met when they were 5 years old. Mm-hmm. And to know someone and love them as much as they did until the day they died, I'm happily single. And so I'm the other spectrum of it.
This is how Mom used to describe herself. Her goal was to be Roseanne Barr, cleaner, when Roseanne Barr used to do stand-up. But yeah, that was her. She was Roseanne Barr 2.0.
What do you think is the word that most people would use to describe you? Can you think of one word that...
Insane.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I think she identifies herself as a crazy lady when she calls in most of the time, so I'm not gonna lie, I might cringe a little bit because you never know what she's gonna be into. So, and from an insurance standpoint, that could be scary. But yeah, it's always entertainment.
Maybe too exuberant.
Effervescent, bombastic, badass. Fuck, what else would I say? Oh, I said fuck, I'm sorry.
If we say the word fuck, you're using it too much. What other word do you have that's more powerful than fuck? You're giving it too much power.
It can't be a noun, verb, adverb, every adjective, everything.
Yeah.
Save it for special occasions.
And we got a lecture on the word fuck when we were little.
Oh, remember the first time she said fuck? Mom didn't cuss.
Oh, yeah.
So Mom was a virgin when she's married, never was drunk, never did drugs, all that. So we were teenagers, and she was hanging curtains in the living room.
And I think she was the start of menopause.
Yes, probably. And she slipped off, and it came out of her hand, and she says fuck. And we're standing right there, and we look at each other. And she looks at us, she marches out the door, walks around the block crying, and comes back in, and we're sitting on the couch.
And Dad's there, and we're like,
and she's crying and
shit.
apologizes as she walks in the door. And of course, we're all laughing, which didn't help the situation. She said it maybe a couple more times after that one. But yeah, that was
That was the first time we heard it out of her mouth.
Oh my goodness, I don't know if I can think of one word. I mean, kindness, loyal, loving.
That was my word. I was gonna say loving.
Loving.
Yeah.
2 words come to mind when I think of Diana, both brazen and bold.
Explosive. I don't know.
Inquisitive.
What would you say?
wow. Yes. One word to describe my mother.
Got it. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Raunchy.
Fierce.
Wholehearted.
Accepting.
Unbreakable.
Vivacious?
She's my type of people.
I know my mom is looking down on me whenever I give you a big hug and you give me a big hug. And thanks for being the mom here on earth until I get to my regular mom up there.
I just feel better for knowing her and being one of the many people who loves her.
Diana, I love you with all my heart. You're like a sister.
I love you so much.
Love you, Diana.
Love you, Diana.
I love you, Diana.
Diana, I love you.
I love you, Diana. You know I do.
I love you very much. Happy Mother's Day.
We love you, Mother.
No. Do over. She knows where all the bodies are buried in town.
What's the opposite of Jim Muir?
Can we sit down and figure out why you're such a butthole and what we can do about that together? Oh my God, do you know you have terminal asshole disease? That's hard.
I heard the source. Google.
I need a thesaurus.
Those are big words.
Oh, shit. That's when you're ready.
Odd.
I thought vivacious was a whole lot better.
Yeah,
than
I
odd.
mean, I was. I can't come up with a word that quickly.
I can give you minutes.
I mean, I'm like, is that silly? I call her odd, you say useless.
Hey, Diana. Happy Mother's Day. Decided to finally show you my bum. No, I wouldn't do that. Way too respectful for that. I mean, that's not right.
Just glanced right over. Do you see antagonists makes the best lovers? You just went like right over to that.
I didn't have any prep for this. I mean, what the hell?
I don't want.
Yes, ma'am.
Did she flush down
No.
No.
or just a
I have
Just a
some, Deanna has some, Mom has some, and then we have to earn it in the ground.
So the goal is when Mom in another 50 years dies, we'll cremate her, mix them together, so we can always, they piss us off, we can go shoot the shit out of them and just
And
get away with it.
We've told both of them that's what we're gonna do. So that is the plan.
It's the future.
Yes,
Yep.
mix them together and shake the shit out of them because they aggravate the piss out of us.
Bring communion and all.
This is going in the blooper reel because Chris is back there. I got a question. Yeah, I'm recording.
Oh, am I recording
Uh-huh.
now? Great. Hope you got good editing skills.
I
Even-
got Stephen a vasectomy for Valentine's Day.
God, you are so much like your mother.
I don't know.
Well, you just, so you get us into it,
You-
know that's details?
Welcome.
You are your mother.
Shut the fuck up.
I guess that makes me the nicer one.
Well, it does.
And it was a really great memory.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Yes, Siri, I'm telling a story about Diana Polsgrove. Hold on, okay?
I'm not sure I understand.
I don't either.
The one thing I question is the shortest verse in the Bible. Jesus wept. How different would it have been if it had been Jesus laughed?